What's going on? It's your boy Craig Thomas, and I know you're wondering, why do I have no shirt on? Well, today we're diving into tattoos. Everything you need to know about tattoos, including what's the most painful spot, what's the least painful spot, aftercare, should you get a tattoo? I mean, we're also going to dive into some unexpected or really painful spots that you wouldn't realize. As always, if you like the channel, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, click the bell. It goes a long way. We do a ton of giveaways on the channel, so if you're a sub, you're always in for those giveaways. Now let's start off with, what does a tattoo feel like? Now, it's very hard to describe, but for me personally, what a tattoo feels like is if you've got a real bad sunburn and you take a knife or a razor and you're dragging it across that sunburn. And I know that sounds terrible, but trust me, it's not as bad as you think. There's some spots that are, but for the most part, it's not as bad as you think. The thing is when you're getting tattooed and the tattoo gun leaves your skin, the pain stops instantly. It's not like a throbbing, aching pain that stays there. You're only in pain when they're actually inking you. And one other thing to notice is sometimes when you're getting tattooed in one specific spot, you actually feel pain in a different area. I remember when I was getting my inner bicep done here, I actually felt pain in my armpit, which has no tattoos, and kind of up my neck. It was super strange. Now let's dive right into the most painful spots to get tattooed. These are my top 5 most painful spots. I have a lot of them done. Some of them I don't, but I've talked to lots of other people and got their opinion on it. These are in no particular order, but we'll start with the elbow. The elbow is brutal. I mean, there's nothing much. You do not get your first tattoo on your elbow. I would not recommend it. I had a buddy of mine got his first tattoo on his elbow, and he didn't go back for like 6 months to get it done because it was just so brutal. It's pretty much just bones. You can almost feel the needle just hitting your bone. It's not fun. The next spot is the chest. You know, this was my first tattoo, was right here, was actually this. It's my last name. And it was rough. I had a lot of adrenaline, I'm getting my first tattoo. I was stoked, but it hurt. It hurt a lot. And I remember the artist, who's done all my work actually, shout out Al Murray, Goldstream Tattoos. And he was like, wow, you're diving right into this, eh? And I'm like, yeah, let's do it. Because I always wanted it on my chest. And I got this piece done and then this one next. And this one actually hurt more. There's way more shading, but I kind of knew what I was getting into. And when you know the feeling, sometimes it hurts more. Ignorance is bliss a lot of times with tattoos. Now the next spot is the spine. I do not have my spine done, but I've heard from numerous people that when you're tattooing directly down the spine, it shoots out, like it hits all the nerves, and it's like a shooting pain in your back more than that throbbing pain. I don't have it personally done, but I've heard from a lot of people that is a brutal spot. Now this is the worst spot for me, for sure, and I think a lot of people's worst spot is the ribs. The ribs are brutal. I got a 6-hour piece done on my rib cage. You can see some of it there. It was so bad. I was biting onto the pillow lying down, and my skin was twitching. I wasn't moving, but my skin was twitching. That's how bad it hurt. So, and my pain tolerance is pretty normal. I've heard this from a lot of people. The ribs is not fun. But worth it. It's a cool spot to get a tattoo. It's definitely worth it. You can get through it, but it was the only time in my life I've almost tapped out of a tattoo. I almost just said, fuck this. And then number 5 for most painful are hands and feet. I do not have any on my hands or feet, but I've heard from a lot of people, just the bony, the tendons, sensitivity of the hands and feet is a very bad spot to get tattooed. I don't have any personal experience, but once again, I don't think it's very fun. Now let's dive into the least painful spots. If you're getting your first tattoo, and you're like, hey, I want to test this out. I want a spot that's not going to kill me. The go-to spot is the outside of the arms. So anywhere through here on your outside of your arms or your upper thighs. Those are the easiest spots to do. In comparison, say my ribs to my outside arm here, it's not even comparable. Like, I could almost fall asleep in comparison getting my arms done compared to my ribs. That's how different it is. I know it's one body. You'd think it'd all be the same, but it's not. It's definitely not. And then another spot which I found, there's a bit of discussion about this, but the the outside of the hip and like sort of side thigh area was, surprisingly easy for me. It was probably one of the easiest spots as well. So if you're nervous about that, and you're nervous about the pain, start with your outside arm. Start right here. Start down here. And if you want something, more hidden, I would go outside of the hip, and that's going to give you a good baseline for the pain. Now, some unexpected spots that truly do hurt. Now, this one might come as a surprise, but the back of the calf was almost on par to the ribs for me. And that might just be me personally, but it's my only tattoo I haven't got done by my artist. And I was in Thailand, and the guy could have had a heavy hand, so, take this for what it's worth. But the back of my calf, it was a 4-hour sitting, and it was so brutal. I remember the girl I was dating at the time, she was sitting there and she was watching me, and I was trying to act tough. I was trying to just grimace through it, but I was in agony. The back of the calf, I don't know if there's a lot of nerve endings there because it's a meaty area, but it was brutal. So that's an unexpected area. If you're thinking you want to dive in on the back of the calf, I would not recommend it unless you have a super high pain tolerance. Another sort of unexpected spot, I know I said the arms are easy, but the inside of the bicep, oof, brutal. Like I said, it kind of felt like he was tattooing my armpit and almost up my neck at some points. It was a super bizarre feeling, but that's also an unexpected one that is really painful that, a lot of people don't know about. Now I want to get into the healing process. Once you've dove in, you've gritted your teeth and you've got that tattoo, it's beautiful, you love it, you want it to heal properly. So what I do personally, there's different ways. Every artist is going to suggest something different. What I do is I leave that wrap on, that clear wrap that they put on for 4 or 5 hours, and then I go have a shower with no soap, no shampoo, and I just clean off all the blood and the plasma, and it gets real slimy. It's just like this slimy mess, and you just brush it off like that. You want to get it cleaned, and then you can either wrap it up again or you can leave it open. But if you do leave it open, you want to make sure you're not working a dirty job, you're not going swimming, you're not taking baths. When you get tattooed, it's an open wound. It's just, a million little, essentially like needle pricks in your arm. So that's an open wound. You don't want bacteria in there, and you don't want to get it infected. So you can take the wrap off actually earlier than most people think. It's actually good for healing, but you got to be careful. You can only do that if you're in, a job or a lifestyle, or even if you took a day off where you can just let it heal properly. Now, what's going to happen with the tattoo is it's going to scab up. It's going to get bumpy, and it's going to look almost like shit. It's going to peel and have scabs, and you might be freaking out. Don't freak out. That's what happens. Your body's healing itself. Underneath those scabs is your beautiful tattoo. So do not pick the scabs. I've heard from many people who have either in their sleep or just on purpose picked the scabs off, and it can leave scarring, discoloration. It can, even blur the image of the tattoo. Do not pick the scabs. They are normal. They will fall off when it is healed. And once they fall off, it looks beautiful underneath if you just take care of it. And taking care of it means moisturizing it. Get a tattoo approved moisturizer. That just look it up, Google it. What moisturizers can I use for tattoos? And essentially, you want to moisturize that so it doesn't get super dry, and it just stays moist, and it's going to heal properly. That is probably the biggest thing you can do, is moisturize it, and also stay out of the sun. The sun and the UV rays are brutal for tattoos in the early stages. They can fade the shit out of your tattoos. I remember the tattoo I got in Thailand. On the back of my leg, like I said, the only one I haven't got done from my local artist, and it is a little bit faded, even though it's really dark. It's a little bit faded because I was in Thailand. I was sitting by the pool for like a week while it healed. I couldn't jump in the pool, I couldn't go in the ocean, couldn't do anything, so I was just sitting in the sun, and it did get a tiny bit faded. So that's proof that the sun will damage a tattoo in its early stages. Now, to wrap this up, are tattoos worth it? Can you handle the pain? Yes. I don't know anyone who's tapped out of a tattoo. I don't know anyone who's passed out from a tattoo. And I really don't know too many people who regret a tattoo. If you don't do something crazy, if you're not getting Donald Duck on your face, you're going to be okay. It feels like more people now have tattoos than don't have tattoos. When I first got mine, it was kind of edgy to get tattoos. Now, It seems like everyone has one. If you want to do it, it's a great way to express, your art or a meaning, or if you just like the look of them. There's no discrimination against tattoos anymore. I think it's amazing. I'm going to keep getting tattoos my whole life. Some of mine that I got earlier on, I'm like, oh, maybe I shouldn't have got that, but it's a story. I don't regret any of it because all it is your story on your body. And if you own it, there's no worries. So if you guys want that tattoo, go and get it. And once again, if you enjoyed this video, hit that like button. Comment below where you're from, what you enjoyed about the video, or tell me about your craziest tattoo story. And until next time, I'll see you guys around.